inflation hits Jersey families hard. Rising costs for food, leisure, and more. In a stark reminder of the ongoing financial strain faced by many, Jersey's consumer advocate has issued a poignant warning. Families are battling to keep their heads above water as inflation rears its head once more. The latest Retail Prices Index (RPI) report, unveiled yesterday, reveals that the annual rate of inflation has climbed to 2.6% in the year leading up to June, marking a significant uptick from the 2.3% recorded in March. This marks the first increase since December 2022, breaking a downward trend that had seen the annual inflation rate steadily decline from a staggering 12.7%. The cost of living, which had been easing since the island experienced its highest inflation rate in over 3 decades in 2022, is now on the rise again, primarily driven by hikes in leisure services, food, and household services. Leisure services, encompassing off-island holidays, entertainment, sport, and leisure fees, contributed the most to the annual rate, adding 0.6 percentage points. Shop-bought food and services, such as school fees, telephone, and internet charges, also played a significant role in pushing prices higher over the year. Carl Walker, the chair of Jersey's Consumer Council, underscores the widespread impact of escalating food and energy costs on islanders. Food prices continue to soar, albeit not as drastically as a few years ago, but the upward trend persists, and families are grappling with making ends meet, he laments. He also points out that the earlier energy cost hikes are likely to have lingering effects on the economy. The increase in electricity prices at the start of the year has had a ripple effect, impacting not just households, but also businesses and commercial users, who have had to pass on the costs to consumers. Despite inflation's significant retreat from its double-digit highs, Walker cautions that many islanders are still wrestling with the escalating cost of daily essentials, and the need for support may be on the rise. The government's recent move to subsidize doctors' fees to make healthcare more affordable for islanders is commendable. But are we reaching a point where the government should also assist islanders with their grocery bills, he questions. Food banks remain overwhelmed, assisting even those with dual-income households who are still struggling. These are indeed challenging times. Walker advises that strategic shopping can still yield substantial savings, although he acknowledges that it's not always feasible for everyone. By shopping around, you can save up to £15 to £20 on everyday items. While it's not practical for everyone to travel across the island to shop, it's crucial for consumers to know where to find the best deals on certain items so they can make savings when passing by those stores. While most categories experienced price increases over the past year, there were some silver linings, with household goods like furniture and appliances, as well as leisure goods such as books and games, seeing price drops. Housing costs also continued to decline, largely due to lower mortgage interest rates, which helped to slightly mitigate the inflation rate. The RPI, the primary measure of inflation in Jersey, tracks the changes in the prices of goods and services purchased by households over time, serving as a key indicator of the island's cost of living. The report also includes separate measures for pensioner and low-income households. Over the past year, inflation for pensioner households climbed to 3.8%, up from 3.3% in March, while for low-income households, the rate rose to 3.9%, up from 3.4%. Despite the recent uptick, Jersey's inflation rate, as measured by the RPI, was 1.5 percentage points lower than the UK's comparable CPIH, Consumer Prices Index figure, which stood at 4.1% in June. The price hikes over the past year have been most pronounced in tobacco, up 8.6%, fares and other travel, up 7.1%, leisure services, up 6.4%, fuel and light, up 6.3%, catering, up 4.3%, personal goods and services, up 4.3%, food, up 4.1%, alcoholic drinks, up 3.9%, motoring, up 3.5%, and household services, up 3.2%. On the other hand, leisure goods, down 0.4%, household goods, down 0.9%, and housing, down 1.4%, have seen price decreases over the past year. But here's where it gets controversial. While the government has taken steps to subsidize healthcare, should it also intervene in the grocery market? And this is the part most people miss: the impact of inflation on low-income and pensioner households, who are often hit the hardest. What are your thoughts on the government's role in mitigating the effects and inflation on everyday essentials? Share your views in the comments below. Cost of living crisis in Jersey. Residents paying up to 49% more for groceries. Imagine surviving on £47.50 a week. This is the daily reality for many in Jersey. New research exposes the harsh truth. Island residents pay up to 49% more for groceries than their UK counterparts. While income levels might seem higher, the crushing cost of living is pushing families toward financial despair. Jane, a lifelong resident, paints a stark picture. This isn't living, it's existing. I work solely from my pension and live off overdraft. I faced moments so bleak I considered ending my life. Her story mirrors countless others forced to subsist on microwave meals while struggling to afford basic needs. But here's where the data gets eye-opening. Despite household incomes averaging 51% higher than the UK before housing costs, Jersey's property prices rival London, 50% pricier than Southeast England, and 27% more than neighboring Guernsey. The grocery gap is even starker. While UK chains provide lower-cost options, Jersey's limited retail choices drive essentials prices 14% higher, with cheapest local stores charging nearly half as much again as British equivalents. So where's this cash going? Pollington Centre Jersey breaks it down. 8% accounts for transportation expenses, the cost of getting goods to the island, 3% labor costs, and 3% tax differences. But this starts a heated debate. Should Jersey businesses absorb costs, or is that an unavoidable consequence of living in a remote community? The human toll is undeniable. 82% of single parents, 47% of couples with kids, and even 36% of working-age adults struggle to make ends meet. Pensioners aren't immune. 24% report financial hardship. Sir Mark Bolliott, senior advisor at Policy Centre Jersey, warns, "We're bleeding talent. Born and bred residents leave for affordability, yet we still need skilled workers for healthcare, finance, and education." The government suggests increasing housing supply as a solution, but Deputy Morell admits we've made it difficult ourselves. Meanwhile, residents share survival strategies. A local retiree moonlights as a delivery driver to afford vacations, while others cross the water to England for cheaper groceries and fuel. John, caring for his ailing wife, describes their situation as tight. "We're down to basics, but persevering." The Salvation Army's Alice Nunn reports food bank demand hitting crisis levels. Families prioritize roofs over meals. Interestingly, Guernsey faces parallel challenges. 38% of their poorest households lack sufficient beds. Mother Ali de Carteret there echoes Jersey's struggles. "I go without meals to ensure my kids eat." This complex web of factors sparks crucial questions. Should local government take responsibility for housing policies that exacerbate shortages? Can businesses justify higher prices when incomes don't stretch as far as they appear? Most controversially, for an island needing specialized workers, is maintaining expat affordability a viable long-term solution? The answer could determine whether Jersey's economy thrives or becomes a ghost town of exploitation. What's your take? Should government step in with price controls, or would that stifle economic growth? Do you think remote islands have to accept higher living costs as part of their appeal? Sound off below. The island's future might depend on this conversation. How islanders in Guernsey and Jersey are coping with rising cost of living. The cost of living crisis, a growing concern for islanders. Imagine having to skip meals to ensure your children can eat well. This is the harsh reality for many families in Guernsey and Jersey, where the cost of living is skyrocketing. As prices continue to rise, islanders are struggling to cope with the increasing burden on their wallets. According to recent figures, inflation in Jersey has reached 2.6%, while in Guernsey, the rate of increase has slowed but remains higher at 3.9%. But what's behind this disparity? Local economists point to the higher costs of rental properties in Guernsey as a key factor. The rental crisis, a perfect storm. Construction worker Luke Jackson blames high rents in Guernsey on state's relocation grants, which he claims have led to a steep increase in rental prices. Locals can't compete, he says. It's got to the point now where we're second-class citizens in our own island. Economist and Deputy Andy Sloan agrees, citing relocation grants as a major contributor to the rental crisis. The numbers are staggering. In Guernsey, average local market rents have reached £2,068 a month, a 1.5% increase from the previous quarter and a whopping 51.7% higher than 5 years ago. In contrast, rents in Jersey have remained stable, with the average price of a one-bedroom house at £1,300 per month. Food inflation, a growing concern. Food prices are also on the rise, with a 4.1% increase in Jersey between March and June. In Guernsey, food prices have increased by 3.9% in the past 3 months. For families like Sarah Obert's, this means making tough choices. Sun cream in the shops is so expensive, she says. Fillings for sandwiches, like packed lunch stuff, it's even like snack bars and cereal, I would say too, it is really expensive.